Have you ever felt like your life missed its moment? Like you were meant to do something more, to love more deeply, to live more fully, to walk in something sacred, but the chance never came. Or maybe it came, and then slipped through your hands. And now, here you are, years later, still waiting, still wondering, still carrying questions no one seems to answer. But let me speak directly to your soul. You were not forgotten. You were hidden, not buried, not bypassed, just placed in a season that felt silent, so heaven could prepare you in the dark. There's a man whose story has always carried the weight of this truth, Moses. But not the Moses of miracles, not the Moses who parted seas. I'm talking about the Moses who wandered, the Moses who ran, the Moses who spent 40 years in the desert after he made a mistake, believing that his destiny was over, that his purpose had expired, that his failure had disqualified him from ever being used again. But what Moses didn't know, what most of us don't, is that those 40 years weren't punishment. They were preparation. God didn't abandon him. God called to him from a burning bush, in the middle of nowhere, when Moses least expected it, after years of silence, when he thought it was too late. And that was when everything began. Right now, I want to offer you a gentle moment to center yourself. Breathe. Let go of the rush, the scrolling, the pressure. Let your soul sit in this moment with intention. Let's believe that what you're about to hear is meant just for you. Let the words that follow stir something sacred within you. Not something new, but something eternal that's been sleeping under the weight of your past. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. Genesis 28:16. And Moses said, "Here I am." Exodus 3:4. You've cried prayers that never seemed to return with answers. You've carried wounds you were never sure would heal. You've watched others move forward while you stayed behind, not lazy, not lost, just held back by something invisible. But I'm here to tell you that holding back was holy. You weren't being punished. You were being preserved. This video was sent to you to explain why it all had to happen the way it did, why they left, why the timing never aligned, why the doors stayed shut, and why someone whose spirit has been quietly shaped like yours, is about to walk into your life at the exact time heaven intends. But before we go further, do one thing. Press that subscribe button, not out of habit, but out of alignment. If your spirit resonates with this moment, trust it. There are more messages like this one waiting to find you, and more are coming. Stay connected to the sacred spaces that feed your soul before the noise of the world distracts you again. Because by the end of this message, you won't just feel inspired. You'll feel seen. You'll remember who you truly are. Why the pain didn't kill you, why the wait was necessary, and why God is sending someone into your life now, not to save you, but to walk with you into your calling. Let's begin. When it feels too late to begin. You see, the most dangerous lie isn't that you're broken. It's that it's too late to begin again. That your time has passed. That your mistakes have buried your calling. That your age has canceled your assignment. This lie doesn't scream. It creeps in slowly. It rides in on the back of regret. It whispers while you're folding clothes, driving alone, watching others rise. It says, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. It tells you that everyone else has already found their path, their partner, their passion. And you're too far gone to catch up. But let me say this plainly and with authority. The call of God does not expire. Midlife is not a curse. It is not the afterthought of your youth. It is the sacred threshold where all that you've endured begins to make sense. Yes, you may have missed moments. Yes, some doors closed. Yes, you've wandered. But nothing that belongs to you in the spirit can be taken from you in the flesh. You see, the chosen ones are often late bloomers, not because they're lazy or lost, but because their soil needed more time. Your roots had to grow deep so that your calling could stand tall. You weren't delayed because you were undeserving. You were delayed because you are destined. Don't be ashamed of how long it's taken. Don't be embarrassed if you're just now waking up to your divine purpose. This awakening, this hunger for more, this ache for meaning, is not weakness. It is the sound of your soul remembering who you are. And here's the truth. What God is about to do in your life doesn't require the approval of time. It only requires your surrender. And that can happen in a moment. Let me show you something sacred. In the scriptures, we meet Abraham, a man who was called into the greatest assignment of his life after what others would call his prime. Moses wasn't sent back to free his people in his 20s or 30s. He was in his 80s. And Sarah? She laughed when she was told her promise would still come. But the promise still came. Because heaven doesn't run on human calendars, God doesn't ask for your birth certificate before fulfilling your purpose. You've been shaped by decades of experience, heartbreak, wisdom, and resilience. Don't you see? The pain you've walked through has qualified you. The confusion you've survived has humbled you. The shame you've carried has sensitized your heart. You are more ready now than you've ever been, not because you're flawless, but because you're real. And God works best with what's real. So let me ask you, what dream did you bury just to survive? What part of you did you silence because you thought it was no longer relevant? What calling did you hang up like an old coat because life got too loud to listen? Go back to that moment, not with guilt, but with grace. Because God is calling you to pick it up again, not in the way you used to, but in the way you now can. With power, with clarity, with depth. This is your time, not your second chance, your true beginning. Too late, not for the chosen. Too broken, not for the Redeemer. Too old, not for the eternal. You have been preserved for this moment, not passed over. You were being hidden, not rejected. And now, the unveiling begins. And maybe it doesn't look dramatic. Maybe it starts with you simply showing up again, opening your heart again, listening to your spirit again. That alone is holy. That alone is enough. You don't have to start big. You just have to start. The rest will meet you on the way. Divine assignments don't require perfection, only participation. So if you've been wondering if it's too late to rise, to build, to believe, let this be your confirmation. It is not too late. You are right on time. Heaven has been waiting on you, not the old version of you, not the you that tried to fit in, but the version of you that's here now, battle-worn, soul-deep, raw, and real. That version. That's the one God is sending into the next chapter. And yes, someone is being sent into your life. But first, you must return to your own life, to your own heart, to your own calling. Let the shame fall. Let the fear burn off. Let the old timelines die. You are not behind. You are becoming. This is the beginning. And beginnings in God always come wrapped in what feels like the end. But it's not the end. It's the rising, the remembering, the return. So keep going. Even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, even if your faith feels thin, go anyway. Begin anyway. Say yes anyway. Because if you don't, if you turn back now, you'll never know what was waiting just on the other side of your yes. And I promise you, what's coming is worth everything it took to survive what you've been through. Pain was your preparation. You see, there are parts of your story you've tried to forget. Chapters soaked in silence, seasons that tasted like shame, days when getting out of bed felt like a spiritual war, nights when your own thoughts turned against you. And though you survived it, you still ask, why did I have to go through all of that? Here is the truth your soul has been waiting to hear. The pain didn't break you, it built you. You didn't walk through fire to come out empty. You came out forged, refined, anointed. Chosen ones don't get to skip the suffering. They are often baptized by it. Your emotional pain, your heartbreak, your loneliness, all of it has been part of a sacred preparation. The calling on your life demanded a depth that couldn't be faked, and pain was the only teacher that could take you there. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Look at Joseph, the one betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. And yet that very prison became the doorway to his divine purpose. Had he not been locked away, he would not have been positioned to rise. What felt like rejection was actually placement. What looked like delay was actually design. And that same pattern echoes through your life. There were people who left you without explanation. There were relationships that ended without closure. You gave your all, and it still wasn't enough for them to stay. You cried prayers into pillows, hoping someone would see you, and yet no one came. Or so you thought. Because while the world looked away, heaven was watching the whole time. And not one tear you cried was wasted. Every moment of pain was a seed in the soil of your future, and now something is beginning to grow. You didn't just feel heartbreak. You felt the depth of what it means to love. You didn't just feel rejection. You learned how sacred it is to be seen. You didn't just go through loss. You learned what it means to truly value what matters. This is what makes you different. This is what makes you chosen. Your scars are not signs of failure. They are symbols of formation. You see, there is a kind of wisdom that only comes through wounding, a kind of compassion that only comes through crying, a kind of spiritual power that only awakens through pain. It's easy to believe that pain disqualifies us, but in truth, it equips us. If you had never been shattered, how would you know how to hold the broken? If you had never felt shame, how would you carry the ones drowning in it? If you had never been betrayed, how would you ever truly understand loyalty? The pain wasn't just about you. It was making you into someone others will be sent to. The very thing that almost killed you will become the reason others begin to live. God allowed it, not to destroy you, but to deepen you. And now, because of that pain, you walk differently. You speak more slowly. You see what others miss. You feel the things no one says. You are not numb. You are sensitive in the spirit. And that sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment. It is divine sight. You didn't come out untouched, but you came out true. And that matters more than you know. You now carry a frequency that heaven recognizes. A signal in your soul that says, I've been through something. And I didn't come out empty. And soon, someone will be sent into your life who can see that. Not because you're desperate, but because you're ready. But let me say this. You don't have to be fully healed to be divinely aligned. God often sends destiny connections while you're still in process. Because what matters most isn't your perfection. It's your posture. Are you open? Are you willing? Are you honest? Then you're already ready enough. Don't rush your healing, but don't hide behind it either. The world needs what your pain has taught you. There's a generation waiting on your wisdom. There's a soul waiting on your story. You've walked through things that others didn't survive, and you're still here. That alone is a testimony. That alone is a calling. That alone is proof that your pain had purpose. Scripture says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. That's not just poetic. That's personal. You are the proof of that verse. You've been bound up, not by bitterness, but by divine mercy. You've been held, you've been protected, and now you're being positioned. So no more hiding, no more apologizing for your depth, no more downplaying the things you've walked through. Your pain wasn't weakness, it was initiation. And the moment you begin to honor what you've endured is the moment your spirit begins to rise. Everything you've been through was preparation for your purpose, for your peace, for the person who is being sent to walk with you. And when they arrive, they won't be scared of your shadows. They'll recognize your light, because they too will carry their own story of sacred pain. And together, your scars will shine. Let this be the moment you stop running from your past and start reclaiming it as part of your preparation. You're not broken. You're becoming. And every ache was a step closer to the anointing that now rests upon you. Someone is being sent to you. You see, there are some people you don't meet by chance. There are some connections that are not coincidences, but assignments. Carried across time, carved into divine timing, orchestrated by a God who sees what you need before you even know to ask for it. Someone is being sent to you, not just to comfort you, not just to walk beside you, but to awaken something within you that has been waiting, maybe for years. This is not about rescue, it's about recognition. The one who is coming won't complete you. They'll remind you of the strength you forgot, the wisdom you buried, the softness you hardened, the purpose you silenced. They won't feel like lightning. They'll feel like alignment. They will meet you in the place where your scars don't scare them, where your silence doesn't confuse them, where your depth doesn't drown them, because they were prepared to. Let me tell you something sacred. Divine relationships are born in the invisible before they ever appear in the physical. That means long before you see them, their spirit has already been walking toward yours. Maybe they've been healing, just like you. Maybe they've been letting go of what no longer serves them. Maybe they've been praying, crying, breaking, just like you, because the same God who is working on your heart is working on theirs. And when it's time, your paths will cross in a way that makes you stop, not with fear, but with familiarity. Chosen ones often walk alone for long stretches, not because they're unworthy of love, but because their soul cannot bond with what is false. You were never meant to settle. That's why it never worked before. That's why your connections felt shallow. That's why you always sensed something was missing. It wasn't arrogance, it wasn't perfectionism, it was discernment. You were wired to wait, and now the wait is bearing fruit. The one God is sending won't be perfect, but they will be true. They will speak the language of your soul. They will carry light in places you've been dark. They will offer peace without demanding performance. They will feel like rest after years of running. And most of all, they will know how to stay, not because you force them, but because their purpose is tied to your presence. This connection will not be one of chaos. You've done that before. You've mistaken drama for depth, intensity for intimacy. But this time is different, because you are different. And your healing has changed your taste. Now you crave calm, stability, spiritual resonance. You no longer want to be impressed. You want to be understood. And here's the beauty of divine timing. You don't have to chase it. When it's right, it flows. When it's real, it stays. When it's from God, it confirms what your spirit already knows. It doesn't come to distract you. It comes to support you. It doesn't take you off your path. It helps you walk it. And when you begin to sense it, don't panic. Don't self-sabotage. Don't shrink. You've been prepared for this. You see, chosen ones often get scared when the real thing starts to arrive, because so many counterfeits came first, so many lessons, so many heartbreaks. But don't let your past keep you from receiving your promise. Don't let fear speak louder than discernment. Yes, you will need wisdom. Yes, you will need prayer. But you will also need courage. Because real love, real connection, real divine union is not soft. It's sacred, and sacred things require strength to receive. Let me tell you something the world won't. God is strategic with relationships. He doesn't just send anyone. He sends who your destiny needs. That might be a mentor, a guide, a partner, a companion, a friend, someone who activates your next chapter, someone who sees the gold in you and pulls it to the surface, someone who challenges you to grow without making you feel small, someone who loves your spirit more than your status. And here's the sacred key. This person is not your reward. They are your reflection. You didn't earn them by being perfect. You aligned with them by being authentic. They are not coming to fix your loneliness. They are coming because you chose wholeness. And now that wholeness is calling out to its counterpart. You've prepared your heart. You've sat in the fire. You've said no to what wasn't right. You've done the quiet, inner work no one claps for. And now, the divine is responding. Someone is being sent. Not rushed, not random, sent. And when they arrive, it won't be just about the two of you. It will be about the ripple, the assignment, The mission, because divine connections carry divine consequences. Together, you will not only heal, you will build. This is why the timing took so long. This is why nothing else worked. This is why the silence had to stretch, because the one coming wasn't ready, and neither were you. But now the timing is beginning to align, and even if you can't see it yet, your spirit can feel it. A new chapter is approaching, a new connection is unfolding, a new kind of love, sacred, sent, sanctified, is being written into your story. So, open your hands, open your heart, open your spirit. Prepare a place for what is coming, not because you are desperate, but because you are ready. The wait is nearly over, and what is coming will not be like what came before. This will be rooted. This will be real. This will be from God. Because someone is being sent to you, not to carry you, but to walk with you. Not to take from you, but to see you. Not to distract you from your destiny, but to remind you of it. And when they arrive, you'll know. Not in your head, in your spirit. Because real recognizes real. And when that moment comes, all the nights you wondered why will make sense. All the pain you endured will find its purpose. All the silence will suddenly speak, and your soul will exhale. This is what I was waiting for. Preparing your spirit to receive them. You see, before anything divine can arrive in your life, something sacred has to shift within you. Divine connections do not just show up at your door uninvited. They show up when your spirit is open, when your posture is surrendered, when your heart has made space. You don't prepare to receive someone by changing your appearance, your status, or your story. You prepare by aligning your soul. Chosen ones are not sent ordinary relationships. They are sent divine assignments, and divine assignments require divine readiness. The person being sent to you is not just anyone. They carry weight, they carry revelation, they carry healing, and they are also carrying their own scars. That means you're not meeting them in perfection. You're meeting them in purpose, and purpose always demands preparation. So let me ask you something sacred. What needs to be released in you before someone new can enter? Not just physically, spiritually, emotionally, internally. What old wounds are still bleeding quietly beneath your smile? What silent vows have you made that keep your heart locked behind invisible doors? Maybe you've said, "I'll never trust again," or "I'm fine on my own." Maybe you've built a life so strong in its solitude that you've left no room for softness. But hear me, what you built in survival cannot hold what's coming in surrender. You must begin to unclench, not because you are weak, but because you are ready. Ready to receive not just a person, but a new way of being. Ready to live without the walls that protected you but also isolated you. Ready to walk in partnership, not out of need, but out of divine complement. You don't have to be fully healed. You don't have to be perfect, but you do need to be present. You do need to be honest. You do need to be willing to grow, willing to be seen, willing to lay down the pride that says you don't need anyone, and pick up the courage that says maybe, just maybe, you were never meant to do this alone. There are things in your life that served you once, but now they're crowding your sacred space. There are habits, beliefs, even relationships that may need to be reevaluated, not because they're evil, but because they don't resonate with where you're going. Preparing your spirit means becoming intentional about your energy, your thoughts, your words. It means living as if the promise is already on its way, because it is. God does not send destiny into chaos. He sends it into order. He sends it into hearts that are humbled, into spirits that are listening. Preparing doesn't mean being busy. It means becoming still enough to hear, still enough to notice when your intuition speaks, still enough to recognize the presence of the divine when it finally enters the room. So how do you prepare your spirit? You begin by turning inward. You begin by asking, where am I still hardened, and where am I still hiding? You begin by returning to your prayer life, not out of desperation, but out of desire. You begin by reclaiming your softness. You begin by trusting that vulnerability is not a flaw, it's a frequency, and the one being sent to you will hear it. Preparing means forgiving, not just others, but yourself. It means releasing the shame you've secretly held for things you did when you were in survival mode. It means believing that you are worthy of being chosen, not because you are perfect, but because you are ready to love from truth, not trauma. You see, when you begin to prepare, the entire atmosphere around you shifts. You'll feel more grounded, more peaceful, more aligned. You'll stop chasing people and start attracting clarity. You'll feel the difference in your conversations, in your prayers, in your decisions. The more space you make in your spirit, the more your life becomes a landing place for the sacred. Scripture says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." Psalm 51:10. This is your preparation prayer. A clean heart doesn't mean a spotless one. It means one that's open, one that's no longer harboring bitterness, one that's no longer clinging to timelines, one that's no longer trying to force its way into love. A right spirit is a surrendered spirit. It trusts divine timing. It walks in grace. It doesn't strive, it aligns. You don't have to chase what's coming. You just have to become the version of you that can receive it. That means staying rooted when things don't go your way. That means remaining soft in a world that praises hardness. That means tending to your inner garden so that when this divine person arrives, they don't walk into weeds. They walk into welcome. Let this be your moment to prepare, not by striving, but by remembering. Remembering that you are already enough, that your scars have not disqualified you, that your journey has not been wasted. You are not behind. You are becoming. And when someone is being sent by God, your only task is to be found ready in your soul. So rest, pray, listen, heal, stay open. The one who is coming is not looking for your performance. They are searching for your presence. And the more you return to yourself, the more visible you become to the one who's been sent to find you. They are not coming to search for who you were. They are coming to walk with who you've become. And that is the version of you the promise was always meant to meet. Your life is being redirected, not rejected. You see, the enemy of your purpose is not always destruction. Sometimes it's discouragement. And discouragement whispers lies like, you missed it, you messed it up, you were rejected by life, by love, by God. But let me tell you the truth, that your spirit already suspects. You were not rejected, you were redirected. There are doors that didn't open because they weren't yours to walk through. People who left because their season in your story had expired. Opportunities that vanished because your spirit wasn't meant to shrink to fit them. What looked like rejection on the surface was in fact divine intervention. It wasn't God closing his heart to you. It was God closing a hallway that led to nowhere. Chosen ones often experience deep disappointment, not because they are forgotten, but because they are set apart. And being set apart means being rerouted again and again, until the path you walk leads straight into your destiny. But when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel holy. It feels like failure. It feels like delay. It feels like shame. It feels like you're being punished for something you can't name. That's the ache of divine redirection. It humbles you, it strips you, and yet it is the very thing that saves you. Look back for a moment. Really look. Think of the things you begged God for, the relationships, the jobs, the places you wanted to stay. Now ask yourself, would those things have carried you into who you are becoming? Or would they have kept you small, kept you hidden, kept you drained? What you called rejection was mercy. What you called abandonment was God pulling you back before you lost yourself. You didn't lose those things because you weren't worthy. You lost them because you were worthy of better, worthy of alignment, worthy of a life that matches your calling. And now, though it feels like you've been standing still, the truth is, you've been turning. Quietly, slowly, invisibly. Your life is turning toward the direction it was always meant to go. But turning doesn't always feel good. It can feel like being uprooted, like confusion, like chaos. You question everything, your worth, your timing, your purpose. But the turning is sacred, because in the turning, something begins to open. Your eyes, your heart, your ears to God's voice. You stop fighting for what you thought you needed, and you begin to prepare for what's meant to find you. You may feel like you're starting over, but you're not. You're starting from wisdom, from lived experience, from a depth that only comes from walking through fire and choosing to rise anyway. That's not starting over. That's being rebuilt. And what God rebuilds, He fortifies. Scripture says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Romans chapter 8:28. Even the things you don't understand, even the heartbreaks you never saw coming, even the years that felt like wandering, all of it is being gathered and folded into your purpose. Nothing is wasted in the hands of the divine. This is the moment where your story turns, not because it's finally perfect, but because you've stopped fighting the flow. You've surrendered to the shift. You're no longer asking for what left to return, and you're asking for what's meant to arrive. That's the mark of spiritual maturity. That's the sign of a chosen one who has stopped begging for crumbs and started preparing for the banquet. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. And soon, you will see why the closed doors mattered, why the lonely seasons were necessary, why the silence stretched so long. Because when the right door opens, when the person sent for your next chapter arrives, when the work you were born to do begins to unfold, you'll realize that the detours weren't detours at all. They were directions. And let me say this with clarity. You are not too late. You are not falling behind. You are right on time for the path that was written for you. This path may not look like everyone else's. It may not follow the world's timeline, but it follows heaven's, and heaven is never late. So don't waste time mourning what didn't happen. Don't rehearse the moments that broke you. Let them be. Let them rest in the past. You are not who you were then, and your future isn't built on what you lost. It's built on what you're becoming. Someone is coming. A divine connection, a sacred partnership, a new chapter. But before they arrive, your spirit must be clear on one thing. You are not a failure. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are being led. With every no, you were being led. With every heartbreak, you were being led. With every closed door, you were being led. Right here, to this exact moment. Now breathe and step forward, not with regret, with reverence. Your life is not in ruins, it's in revision, and the author is not finished yet. The redirection is your realignment. The rejection was your release, and the life you're about to step into, it's the one that was always meant for you when they finally arrive. You see, when the one God is sending finally arrives, it won't feel like fireworks. It won't be chaos, confusion, or overwhelming emotion. It will feel like clarity, like stillness, like peace in places where your soul used to shake. This is not the kind of connection that rushes in like a storm. It's the kind that settles in like the dawn, gentle, consistent, undeniable. You won't need to beg for their attention. You won't need to shrink yourself to keep them. You won't feel the need to perform, explain, or convince, because this time they'll see you. Not the mask, not the role, but the real, radiant, wounded, wise you. They'll speak the language your heart almost forgot how to hear. Not because they studied you, but because they were formed for you in the silence, just as you were formed for them. When they arrive, Something ancient inside you will recognize them. Not from this lifetime, but from the spirit. The way they look at you won't just make you feel beautiful or wanted. It will make you feel remembered, and you'll understand finally why nothing before ever worked, why every other hand you tried to hold slipped away. Because this one was shaped to fit the soul you became through the fire. They will not complete you. No divine connection is meant to do that. They will mirror you. They will meet you where you are, not to rescue you, but to walk with you, to carry light where you carry strength, to bring water where you bring flame. Together, you will not just find comfort, you will find calling, and you'll notice the difference right away. You'll speak without fear of being too much. You'll share without worrying you're being too deep. Your spirit will rest because it has finally found resonance. You'll speak less to be understood and more to connect. You'll laugh from your belly, not your mask. You'll breathe easier, stand taller, dream again, not alone, but with someone who sees the same horizon. This is the kind of arrival that doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't demand a spotlight. It simply walks in and everything shifts. Not because they are perfect, but because they are aligned. The timing, the growth, the pain, the preparation. It all begins to make sense. The years you thought were wasted now look like sacred preparation. The delays turn into direction, and the loneliness transforms into sacred stillness that made space for their arrival. Don't expect them to come dressed in perfection. They may have wounds of their own. They may speak slowly, love gently, and move carefully. But when they enter your life, the whole atmosphere will soften, and you will feel it. The presence of peace that comes when something true is entered. Scripture says, "Iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens another." Proverbs 27:17. This person will not flatter you. They will challenge you. Not to change who you are, but to rise into who you've always been. They will not distract you from your calling, though they will help you remember it. They will not pull you off your path. They will walk beside you on it. This is how you'll know. Peace. Not comfort without growth, but peace in the growth. Not ease without effort, but grace in the effort. Not perfection, but presence. When they finally arrive, it will not be the end of your journey. It will be the beginning of your becoming together. So when they come, don't run. Don't question if you're worthy. Don't hide behind who you used to be. Stand in who you are now. Receive them not as a reward, but as a reflection. And give thanks, not just for them, but for the God who kept you long enough to meet someone who could truly see you. When they finally arrive, it won't just be about finding someone. It will be about finding yourself in a way you never could alone, and your soul will whisper in gratitude, This is what I waited for."